What do you do when you don't feel like being around your kids? Now, this might be because you're exhausted and you haven't slept. This could be because you're feeling grumpy. This could be because you feel depressed. This could be because you feel anxious. This could be because you just have had so much going on and you're burned out. Could be any of those things. Could be something else. Could be because things are hard in your marriage and you're just, struggling. You want to be alone. I don't know. There's options. I, as a homeschooling mom, 4 kids, we don't have family close by. My kids are with me pretty much all day long at the house. There are some tried and true tricks that I have done the entire time from when I have teeny tiny babies all the way up to now, and I'm going to share them with you today in this episode.
Hi, I'm Jessica Jackson, and this is the new way to thrive in motherhood by leaning into who you are, what you love, your unique family situation and personal mission to create a life that you actually want to live. I want to invite you to join me in saying no to the life of the exhausted supermom, burnout, victim thinking, being pulled in so many directions, suffering through survival mode, or being lost in motherhood, and say yes to building strong families and moving forward on our greatest goals in order to create a fulfilling life that we are excited to wake up to each day and become a soaring mother. This is the Thriving in Motherhood podcast.
If this episode is helping you, I've got even more for you at thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/checklist. There you can get the 5-step path from thriving to surviving checklist. This is so practical. It's meant for you who does not have time to read or digest things, and maybe your mind's shot. It's got simple steps, things that you can take action on right now, today, to start improving how you're feeling about your very life as it is right now. So check that out at thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/checklist. Okay, let's talk about what to do when you don't feel like being with your kids. Now, there's lots of options, but my favorite one, and the one that I've been using the most right now, and it's twofold, is to go outside and be creative. Let's break this down. What does that actually look like? Well, when it comes to it, first of all, when we go outside, I feel like 50% of the problems just immediately drop off. The fighting and the bickering decrease. People climbing on me goes away. Just getting outside changes the environment and is inviting. There's so many wonderful things. I don't have to panic about the messes the kids are making. I don't feel stressed about what has to be cleaned up afterwards. For the most part, Georgia mud is sort of an exception to that, but still, it's not picking up toys. And it just provides opportunity for the kids to just explore, right? It's just a great option. And whether that means the kids are at the playground, or they're in your own backyard, or you go to a botanical gardens, or you're even just walking around the neighborhood, still provides a wonderful outlet. This also just changes the scenery, like just mixing things up. Like if you're feeling crummy in your own house, getting out of the house is lovely. But you can really supercharge this. Like we use this all the time. Like, let's just go on a walk. But if I really need a pick-me-up, we do something a little bit different. So when my kids were little at the playground, we lived in a little apartment, and we had a playground in front of our house, and I wasn't doing house projects. We would go to the playground, and I would bring a blanket to crochet. I would bring leather and learn how to make shoes. I would bring a stick, and I carved. I made little dolls, or then I learned how to make animals just by whittling away and carving. Now, I'm not suggesting this is the best or the only thing you can do, but those are things that I did just while I was renting. I didn't have loads of space. Get us outside, keep my hands busy, do something creative, learn something, discover something, which is a wonderful way to bring happiness into your life if you're feeling kind of black. And then my kids were also playing. And so we were close to each other. We were in the same space. We were watching each other. But we also were not touching each other. So it created a little bit of a separation there. They were engaged doing stuff. I was engaged doing stuff. Now, and the other thing is I played music. This is another way to be creative. I had a friend in the neighborhood, and we fiddled together. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Now, and when I moved to Connecticut, I had another friend, and we fiddled together. It was amazing. We both of these people, this was completely unplanned. We in college had played in a musical group together for 6 weeks. We didn't really know each other that well. Didn't even know that the other was going to be in these locations. And so for lightning to strike twice for me to be able to continue to play amazing music with people that I played with in college was incredible. Now my kids are older, and I'm working on it with them, learning to play music with me now. But honestly, I just play a lot by myself. So, okay, part 2. We have a house now. We don't have neighbors easily accessible to always go hang out with, although sometimes we still do. We do still meet people at the playground, or go, invite people to our home, or go to other people's home. But honestly, on those days when we're just tired, I need a creative project and we need to be outside. This year, we built a retaining wall. So my husband was the creative force behind it, but we had 4 tons of rocks dropped off in our side yard. And for hours, I just hauled rocks. I hauled gravel. I held big stones, and I didn't think. And you know what? The kids were so happy. They're playing with frogs. They're creating archaeology dig sites in the backyard. They're digging huge holes to put boards on and practice tightrope walking. I mean, they're just living their best life. And then they're helping us with the wall. Sometimes they're hauling gravel or tamping it down or, trying their hands at stones. They're building things. They're jumping on the trampoline. They're having water fights. Doesn't matter. We're outside. It's like the closest thing I can get to a vacation without leaving my house. And I'm just walking back and forth, hauling rocks, moving my body, and out there supervising and enjoying not being right on top of each other. Another thing we've done a ton, not just building this retaining wall, but we've been out in the garden. We've been gardening. I love doing that with my kids. There's so many options of things that we can do out there together, whether it's weeding or tasting the bok choy or grabbing strawberries or waiting for the peas to grow, looking at snakes and spiders and bugs. There's so much that you can do out there with them or not with them, but around with them that just is so healthy for all of us. And we have just had so much fun this year throwing seeds in the ground and see what happens. That's the level that I'm at. Unfortunately, I have a long growing season down here in Georgia, so I can get away with that. But it's just been so, it just brings joy. What starts out as a coping mechanism is something that turns into a wonderful lifestyle. Sometimes I just pull my violin out to the porch and play, and everyone's just hanging out. Or out to the backyard, pull my violin, and everyone's just hanging out. You obviously have to scale this. I'm not suggesting that building retaining wall is the best thing for you right now in your family or your circumstances. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not thinking that necessarily you have the same hobbies I do. Maybe you want to pull out paints and start painting outside. Or maybe you want, I don't know, play an instrument. I don't know. Guitar. That one's easy. We've got a bunch of ukuleles being played right now in our house. So whatever it is that you want to do, pick it, try it. It doesn't have to be your favorite thing. Just try something. Could be sewing clothes. I had kids sit on my lap with a carrot. That's slightly breaking some of the rules, but really did for a long time, many years. Just had my little toddler sit on my lap with a bag of carrots because it's clean, won't stain the fabric, and I would just sew. So picking something creative, getting outside, absolutely lovely. Now the byproduct of this, though, that I didn't understand all the years ago, but I see now so richly in my family's life by me coping, by being creative, is I have very creative children. They are so busy all the time. They play instruments, loads of instruments, whatever they want. They pick it up and they start figuring it out. They make things out of wood. They sand things down. Another thing we did this week that was fun is we have bunk beds that are shorter, and I wanted to create more of a enclosed space for one of the top bunks. And so we had some scrap wood, and I had the kids help me build a frame. Again, I'm outside. They're engaged part of the time they're not. When I had boards to sand, I handed them and they just hand sanded it. I pulled out the electric sander in the end, but especially my younger daughter, my youngest and my oldest really love just that feeling of sanding wood and listening to audiobooks while they do it. It's like bliss. But it's a very tactile thing. They're learning skills. So by just me introducing these things, or my kids go out and paint regularly inside, outside, or they regularly go pick up an instrument, or they regularly go sew, just because they were exposed to it. So this is just one of my best strategies for dealing with when you feel black, when you don't want to be around anyone, when you want to be by yourself, but you can't be because you're a mom with a bunch of little kids at home. Just find something creative to do. And you can scale the mess, right? Like the reason why I'm playing violin so much right now is because I'm too tired to do projects and don't have the energy to set up, do the thing and clean it up. And I know that, but I can pull out a violin and I can play it and then I can put it away and it serves the same purpose and I can do it outside. That's great. So match your interests, match your skills, match what you're curious about. Whether you're renting or buying, you're in the city or not, whatever it might be, but take what you can do. And if you need to, get outside with your kids and do something fun. And it's going to spread over and spill over in absolutely wonderful ways as you inspire them to be creative themselves and expose them to whatever it is you want to expose them to as you're doing it yourself. It just brings so much joy to everybody and creates a lot more fulfillment and positive endorphins because you're keeping your mind alert and trying cool things, and creativity brings happiness. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you next week, but let me know in the comments below what you are going to do outside this week with your kids running around. Today's episode is brought to you by the Thriving in Motherhood Journal. This is my go-to tool to completely change how you will experience motherhood. I created it during some really hard seasons in my life to change how I was thinking about my life and to bring more meaning, fulfillment, and joy into the everyday and including the really hard days. This is based in the latest research of positive psychology, high performance habits, cognitive behavioral therapy, gratitude research, as well as some scriptures from the Bible to bring in a spiritual element as well. And as you learn to ask these questions to yourself, it changes how you see your day. It changes what you focus on. And as you change your focus, you will find that you are feeling so much more joy. You can learn more today at thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/journal.
Where you are planted, watch the blossoms grow.